Welcome to your special two views on destination. Today we use Sara Gabriela Hernandez, an expert traveler who has visited more than 50 countries. In Michelle Ojea Barreto, who has all her life in Cartagena. I am excited to explore the different perspectives in this colonial Colombian city. Tell us your visited Cartagena with. Sara Gabriela, tell us how you visited Cartagena with.
Thank you for inviting me. I really feel in love with Cartagena. I love the whole city because it perfectly combines colonial history with vibrant Caribbean atmosphere. The colors of the facades are simple, spectacular to photograph. There are so many impressive tourist sites. You can visit the Castillo de San Felipe, all the walls at sunset. There are several interesting museums, such as the Gold Museum and the Palace of the Inquisition.
Incredible. Michelle is local resident. Do you share this vision of your city?
Well, I think Cartagena is much more than just the walled city. While it is beautiful sometimes, I think tourists only see the part. In my opinion, the Real Cartagena also includes neighborhoods like Getsemani, which has a lot of local culture, or the residential neighborhoods, where most Cartageneros live. I don't hate the historic center, but I feel that it presents a very partial image of our reality.
That is interesting difference. What specific attractions would you recommend to others travels?
I will definitely recommend the boat ride to the Rosario Islands. The observation deck at the Convento de la Popa offers incredible views of the entire city. For natural lovers, the botanical garden near the city is small but lovely.
What about you, Michelle? Where are the place to recommend visit?
Well, there are places that tourists rarely visit. Near the Basurto market, you can try the authentic local food and not the tourist versions. Sometimes I go to the Cerro de la Popa, but early in the morning, when there are so no tourists and I can enjoy the view quickly. There are also local beaches like Manzanillo del Mar that are less crowded than Boca Grande. Around her residents usually prefer their less unknown places.
Let's talk a bit about cost. Sara Gabriela, who did you find the price in Cartagena?
I must say that prices in the whole city are quite high. Restaurants and souvenir stores have high prices, but that is common in tourist areas. The entrance fee to the Castillo de San Felipe is a bit expensive, around 25,000 Colombian pesos, and some consider it overpriced. However, lodging outside of high session can be relatively inexpensive if booked in advance. Travel costs within the city are reasonable if you use transportation apps instead of tourist cabs.
Actually, we find that everything in the historic center is extremely overpriced. Some products cost 3 times as much as in the other parts of the city. For us residents, it is simply too expensive to eat or shop. Their own regular basis. Housing costs for locals are also very high relative to local wages, which is creating gentrification problems.
What fun activities would you recommend for visiting?
Attending the Cartagena International Film Festival, if you visit in March, is an incredible experience. Trying the local food at restaurants like La Cevicheria or El Boliche Cevicheria is a delight. I loved learning to dance salsa at one of the local dance schools, and the night tour of the whole city is magical. What fun activities can I do around here if I return with my family?
For families, I will recommend that visit the aquarium in the Rosario Islands. Although it is smaller than many expect, the kids really enjoy the naval museum. There are also activities such as local cooking class, where you can learn how to make patacons or arroz con coco. For sometimes authentic local families often go to the Parque Espiritum del Manglar for the afternoon or the beaches of La Boquilla on weekends. These are quieter but more authentic visits and activities.
Sara Gabriela, what did know you like in Cartagena?
I didn't like the insistence of some of the street vendors, especially on the beaches of Boca Grande. It gets a bit overwhelming when you are trying to relax. I also think the traffic can be chaotic, and the high temperatures during the day can be exhausting for some tourists. I hate to admit it, but some areas outside of the historic center seem less safe for tourists.
I agree about the vendors, but it's important to understand that money depends on that encounter life. As for the weather, we are used to the heat and I know how to handle it. It breaks during the hottest hour of the day. Appropriate clothing on safe. They are in exaggerate perception on danger in some neighborhoods that are perfectly sane. I don't like that distorted image.
What would you say the most popular attraction in visited Cartagena?
The whole city itself is the most popular attraction. Within it, the Castillo de San Felipe and the walls are the most visited places. Tourists often take pictures at the Plaza de los Coches and Plaza Santo Domingo with the Botero sculpture. The castle's amusement park is actually the historical tour through its tunnels and passages.
For tourists, those places are popular, but for us locals, the most popular attractions will be more like La Boquilla Beach of the Mal Plaza Shopping Center, where we spend time with friends and family. The Urban Art Gallery in Getsemani is also highly valued by residents, although many tourists visit it now. The most popular places among locals and tourists rarely coincide.
To conclude, what tips would you give to get a more complete experience of Cartagena?
I would recommend balancing visit between the mostly tourist sites and venturing a little further afield with the help of reliable local guides. Talking to locals will always enrich the experience. I would also suggest visiting during local festivals such as Cartagena's Independence Day in November to see the city in all its cultural splendor.
My advice is simply talk to the locals, ask us we art, we have fun. There is a tourist Cartagena and a real Cartagena, and both deserve to be experienced. Visit the local market, try the food at street stalls with due precautions, use a public transport chain, and try to understand the city beyond the postcards. Near the historic center, there are neighborhoods like Getsmani, and that style maintain their under city and are safe for visitors.
Thank you both very much for this opinion. To truly understand in destination, we need both the experience perspective of a travel and experience of local and resident. See you in the next edition of two views on destination.